welcome back, fight fans, to Exposing the Box boxing channel, ETB Boxing. I just want to touch on Gervonta Davis tweet that he sent out a few days ago now, and I wasn't going to touch on it, but I felt like I needed to because I think a lot of people bite into this type of tweet, and I have a couple of theories behind why sometimes boxers tend to really touch on the race card, and I'm not saying that doesn't exist, and I criticize a lot of other channels for always talking about race, and here I am talking about it, but I'm talking about it in a very objective way. I'm not trying to talk about it by saying it doesn't exist or swaying in a different way. I'm not trying to do that. But he says, I wonder if I was 12-1 and fought the same people Loma fought, would I be pound for pound? Floyd said it best, if he was a different race, he would be bigger and more appreciated. So I have a take here. The take here for me is that I think since Davis is about to have a big fight with Mares coming up, I think that sometimes fighters in this new age, it's not like the 80s and 90s, guys. The social media has a big influence on in your business, on anything, on your brand, especially boxers, and if they can create any kind of attention, whether positive, negative, or controversial, it's better for them and their numbers in the fight. It's gonna make an impact, and you have to know this. I'm not sure what Davis's position was, but definitely that is a hot topic, and I'm not sure if he's utilizing that position to create controversy, to create attention for his fight, for his big fight, because it's going to be a big fight, and I think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be his signature fight, right? And that bleeds into the next topic. I want to really talk about what he says. If I were 12-1 and fought the same people Loma fought, would I be considered pound for pound? And the answer is yeah, you would, because Loma, as you can see here, has fought, he's fought in Gary Russell Jr., right? He lost against Orlando Salido when Orlando Salido was, in 2014, he still had a lot of fuel in the tank, and he was a dangerous fighter, an action fighter, and it was his second fight of his professional career, something probably he shouldn't have taken, most people would probably think, but he got in there and lost a split decision in Texas. So that's a fight that he lost, but it's still some credit for that fight. Gary Russell Jr. Then you have then you have Guillermo Rigondeaux, the guy that nobody wanted to fight because he was awkward and strange and dominated and stopped him. And then he had another signature fight with Jorge Linares. So Gervonta Davis, yeah, if you would have had some of those names on your record, you definitely, and you still are considered pound for pound anyway, but you just haven't had a signature fight, and that's the bottom line. And I don't know if he really meant what he meant. If he was a different race, he would be a bigger and more appreciated. I'm not sure if he meant that, or he's just trying to create controversy to attract more attention. And that's a technique some of these marketers use, if you all don't know this, and a lot of people bite into it and talk about it. Oh my God, it's a race thing, and then we're talking about that instead of boxing, which is the most annoying thing in the world. But anyway, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be talking about that, but I mean, I want to talk about boxing, man, and that's what's up. But anyway, yeah, so if Davis had some of those names on his record, yeah, he still is considered, but he would be considered even, top 2, top 3 pound for pound if he had some of those names, and that's just the bottom line. And he is appreciated. And Floyd, I don't know if he said, Floyd said it best, if he was a different race, he would be way bigger and more appreciated. I don't know how much bigger Floyd can get, because he is huge, you know what I mean? So I don't know what he's talking about with that. Does he want America to admire Floyd Mayweather and praise him and and all this and that? And here's another thing. You can't pretend to be a villain because that's kind of what he pretended to be, the money Mayweather, showing off money. That's not really the most appealing thing in the world. I think one of the Floyd Mayweather's genius moves is to become the villain that everybody wants to see lose. That's why he not hardcore boxing fans, because hardcore boxing fans love to see Floyd because we know he's awesome. But what I'm talking about is, soft, fans, and not really softcore, they're not really into it, and so they'll want to pay that money to see Floyd lose. So you can't play that role and that character and that brand and expect people to appreciate you and admire you and all that. And having said that, Muhammad Ali, when he was in his heyday, nobody really liked him at the time. It was until people knew he was awesome, but he wasn't really admired and appreciated too much later, a generation or two later. So if Floyd, I don't know what Floyd, he's quoting Floyd, who knows if Floyd really said that, but at the end of the day, Floyd's going to be considered one of the best that ever did it. So I'm not sure what Gervonta Davis was saying, but again, those are some of my thoughts on it. I don't know if it's a marketing ploy, but if it isn't, I don't think there's any substance for Gervonta Davis to be, kind of barking up that tree. But having said that, after the Modest fight, if he completely just puts on a show and dominates him, then we already know he's bad, but we're gonna know how bad, as soon as the competition gets up. And another thing too, Gervonta Davis, you haven't fought in over a year, man, and that's I don't know, maybe your promotional company isn't doing a good job in promoting you and keeping you active. And we see that if you're not active, and boxing is a very unforgiving sport, man. It's a very what have you done for me lately type of sport if you don't know. And you can see that with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman's brand has suffered. He was the top dog, after he beat Garcia, and he was really being talked about. And man, all this, Keith Thurman. But then he went inactive because of injuries and whatnot, and that's fine. But guess what? His brand suffered because he was inactive. And that's the same thing with Davis. If you're not active and fighting, your brand's gonna suffer, and you're not gonna be talked about, pound for pound, if you don't have a signature win and you're inactive. That's just it. You can't have it both ways. But you do get credit for being considered a very talented young fighter, and we hope that you become everything we think you're gonna become. But I just wanted to talk about this tweet. I thought it was a silly tweet. I don't know what the real reason behind it is, but those are my thoughts. I mean, what do y'all think, man? Comment. Let me know what you think. If you agree with me, disagree with me, I want to know, man. All right? I'm out. ETB Boxing.
Perfect.